Alright, here we are. It is the end of July, 26th of July. I treated all the colonies except one for 6 weeks with Amatraz. And I gave them a little bit of a break, and I'm going to go ahead and check them now. These are my 2 colonies that are down at the watermelon. They're pretty busy. They're either working watermelon or they're working something else. This early in the morning, you know, a lot of things will only bloom in the morning, and so I'm not convinced they're working watermelon. But let's go ahead and do another varroa check. I think it's time. I gave them a little bit of a break. I don't know why. I should have checked right away. Things came up. So there's been about, I don't know, half of a cycle. So if the varroa have built back up, it'll be a fairly minimal amount. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. The last time I checked this colony was a mite bomb. They suffered. They had a bit of a brood break, and now they're back at it. They're doing pretty well with honey production. You can see the change in the color. I think this is I don't know the name of the tree, but it's a South American tree. It's very, very yellow. I think that's what this is. Wow, these are empty, and they're drawing them out. And in the end of July, in the Middle East, that is crazy. Crazy. Wonky comb. That's crazy. I think I may need to put a super on here, or I can just leave them alone. Leave them alone. They've laid all this up, most of all of this, since the Amatraz treatment. But I do want to show you, look at this. It gets so hot here that the comb will just sag like that. They're not going to mess with this other side too much. Alright, I think these are the bees. I don't see the queen. And yeah, there are larvae in here that are a couple days old. So these are all nurse bees. I think these are the girls, unfortunately. Double check for the queen. I'm going to double check for the queen. This did not work the way I wanted it to. One. Shake a little more, just in case. One. Outstanding. I find it to be useful to take the bees out and then decant the alcohol and count a second time. I just found another one. So I've got 2 out of 300. That's still less than 1%. So I've got 2 out of 300 because I decanted the alcohol. So that's still within threshold. That's an acceptable number. For me to recheck them later in the fall, and give them oxalic acid if needed. That's a really good number. Okay everyone, I really hope you can see my head. I'm pretty excited about this walkaway split. I did such an overload of bees, shaken in bees at the beginning, and then emerging brood, and again at 6 frames, so I had enough to put in there that they're completely overflowing, and it's been 5 weeks since I made the walkaway split. Now, I didn't have any more equipment until I started to scavenge. I found this box that I'd been using to store comb. I've got some comb here. I only have 5 or 6 frames left. And then I found this guy under an outdoor workbench trying to rot away. I don't like screen bottom boards, mainly because of the humidity here in the winter, as it's the rainy season in the Middle East. But I'm going to start making my own lids and bottom boards soon. And then let me show you this. I'm going to do a video, but I made this migratory lid out of phenolic resin, outdoor plywood used to make concrete forms. I've got the 2-inch tent plug in the top, and then I've got a 3/4 inch wide by 3/8 inch deep shim built in for pollen patties in the spring. So my plan right now, other than not falling down, oh, and I also took this out of my Mean Girl hive, hive number 7, the hive that I babied and got through the spring. They never wanted to build up. Now when it's the worst time of the year, pretty much they're building up. But just in case they do have a little bit of a lag, this will help them get through it if any of these are still alive after sitting in my car for 10 minutes. So my plan is I'm going to move this old hive over here and then put the hive there. So let's get started. Here's our empty comb. I'm going to go ahead and put this brood, this new brood, here in the middle. I'm going to flank it with empty comb, just so they'll have an incentive to fill that up relatively quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the honey on the outside from this one. You can see the bees are already making a beeline for the new hive because it's in the location of the old hive. So it only makes sense. If I see the queen, I'll make sure to put her in a location or in such a way that she won't get rolled. Look at that. She's a brand new queen. Brand new queen. She's dang near a bricklayer. Look at that. Look at that. So they're not super happy. They're used to going into a relatively small hole, so you can see they're all kind of clustering up where their old entrance used to be. The visual memory of a honeybee is amazing. But they have one frame of honey. They had 3. They have been eating their resources to cool down this small nuke that they've gone through a couple of frames. And obviously they've been nursing brood, so they're going to go through some resources. I'll check on them again, and if they don't start putting on weight, I've got my new lid. And I'll just bucket feed them. I hope the queen's in here. If she's not, there's nothing I can do about it now. All right, chapter 3. See how the honey's doing. Still bringing in pollen. I see a bee that died right as it hit the landing board. It's dying now. They just work to death. Okay, I'm looking down, and I see very few capped. But let's go ahead and pull right here in the middle. It's been so hot, and they've been working so hard. Yeah, I mean, they're just, I think they're storing what they can, and this is almost there. I mean, look, last week it was half that size. Well, I think this is, honestly, if I wanted to harvest, I probably could. But let's give them more time. The cotton is still blooming. The gourds and pumpkins and whatnot, even though they don't provide a significant amount of nectar. And these trees, I call them South American trees because too lazy to remember the name. These are heavy. These are heavy. So let's just keep going. Keep doing what we're doing. Let's check the outside frames. Those are always the real indicator. The middle ones fill up quickly. The outside ones will linger often. And they're filling that up. You obviously don't have philo vision. They're filling it up. It's heavy. And yeah, they're capping, slowly but surely capping. So what I'm going to do is rotate these a little. Because of the propolis, it's gotten to the point where I really don't even need to use my spacer. There are marked guides here to tell me exactly where to put these frames. Yeah, that's got enough in it. The bees are working. This is heavy. Honestly, if I had a bunch of these next spring, even at what it's filled up at now, I would be, as my father would say, tickled pink. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. They're doing pretty well here. All things considered, given the heat and everything, and the fact that the humidity is so high that they can do the evaporative cooling technique all they want, and it still will have a fairly minimal effect. I am not really willing to vent the top. One, if you look at circulatory studies done on the circulatory patterns of bees, they don't vent through. They create a circular motion and they vent out of the front and then back in. So they do this. They don't do this thing like a squirrel cage. They do this thing. Oh, the bees are mad. So they do this thing. So there's no point in venting the top. I know people say it works really well, but I think it works really well where the humidity is not 80–90% in the summer, because it does allow that natural dry air, not the air the bees are producing, but the natural dry air to circulate through. I don't want this air circulating through. It's not worth it. It's too high. I would have to, it would just really, really moisten up my honey. So I think that's it. I'm not going to check for more varroa today. It's hot. It's in the morning. It's really hot. I'd like to come here sometime, get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and come here and test around, before the sun comes up, around there. Right now, I'm just going to get mad because it's hot and I'm sweaty and my eyeglasses are slipping down and I'm falling on these very not well-placed pallets. And I'm just going to get mad. I'm going to get rough with the bees, and I'm going to have a chance of rolling a queen or getting stung a lot because I'm not taking my time. And that's really the key to not getting stung a lot, is taking your time, going slow, no knocking around, no banging around, no falling like I do sometimes. So I'm just going to wait. It's pretty encouraging. I'll look at some of the other ones that I supered. I don't really know if I need to add more supers. I think I'm seeing the taper now. It's been 2 weeks and they've only doubled the number of cappings they've gotten. In a really good flow, that would just a week. So I think it's time to temper expectations and just let the rest of the summer coast. All right, with Brown and Daughters Honey, this is Connor. I hope you can see my head. I got a new tripod and a new microphone. So bear with me for a little while, all 12 of you who watch. Take care. Bye. This is either gain at 100 or gain at 0. Well, that was a lot of fun. I ended up sweating so much that I decided to come sit in the walk-in cooler, cool down a little bit. I sweat so much it looks like I peed in my pants. And while I'm in here, I found a nice refreshing bottle of Coca-Cola. Hopefully.